Richard wanted me to say something to you about fees for the class. There isn't one per se, but we lease the copy machine. And they give us so many copies that we can run. And then beyond that, we get charged quite a bit for it. And we are in it's April, May, and June, so we don't have that bill yet for what it's going to be. But if any of you would like to contribute toward that, we'll have a basket back here on the table. You know, if you enjoyed the course and you feel like you could give a little bit toward it, it'd be appreciated, but it's not required. And then also, while I'm up here, I wanted to have some people stand up. Jack Chadwick, would you stand? Paul Gann, Linda Haddock, Marjorie, Kay, Larry and Miss.
We don't want to block out people.
Stand up. Dana, Bill, Gabby Ryle and Josh Ryle, but not their parents. And Kevin, Reese, and Shem. These are your people who have had perfect attendance.
All right. Yes. What you get now is you get to be seated. Well, that's excellent. I think that's better than me. I think I missed 1 week. All right, tonight we want to handle the rest of the New Testament, because that's quite a daunting challenge for us. And also, I want to give you a very brief summary of the life of Christ. We got into it, we ran out of time. I want you to have something of a handle on that. And so as you open up your notes, you'll find major periods of Christ's earthly life. And you'll notice 8 different periods that are there. And I just want to kind of go over that a little bit with you so that you have in your mind kind of a bird's eye view of the scope of the life of Christ, all right? And so in the first part of this, we would have the preparation. That would be from his birth until his baptism. And Jesus was baptized by whom? In what river? Okay. And then was his period of inauguration, and that would be from his baptism until his rejection at Nazareth. And why would his rejection at Nazareth be a significant thing? That was hometown. That was his hometown. All right, and then you have an early Galilean period of about 4 months, and that would be from his rejection at Nazareth until the time when he preached the Sermon on the Mount. And about 4 months. And then a later Galilean ministry, and in the latter Galilean ministry would be from the Sermon on the Mount to the feeding of the 5,000. Jesus also fed another group of people. How many were in the second group of people? 4,000, okay. And then a period of retirement to northern Galilee. It was about 6 months, the feeding of the 5,000 until the Feast of Tabernacles would be the limits on that. And then a Judean ministry. Now, all right, let's see if you know. If I were going to draw a map up here of Galilee, would I go north, south, or middle? North, okay. So I've got Galilee up here. There's a sea up there. What's it called? Sea of Galilee. Okay, good. All right. And then I've got a river that runs out of the Sea of Galilee and goes straight south, pretty much. And that's the Missouri? No. What is it? Jordan River. Okay. All right. And that flows into what river down the south, or what body of water down the south? The Dead Sea. All right. And you said we have Galilee up here in the north? Okay, if I were going to put Samaria where would I put Samaria? North, middle, or south? Middle. Okay. And so that would be Samaria. Now then, that leaves Judea. Where would I put it? North, south? Okay, in the south. So I've got what up here in the north? What's in the middle? What's in the south? Judea. Okay, what's in the south? Okay, the middle? Okay, I'm back in the south again. If I cross the Jordan River and went on the other side of the Dead Sea, where am I? Transjordan. Very good. Somebody said that's great. Okay, on that Transjordan side is going to be an area called Perea, and north of that's going to be Decapolis. Okay, on the Transjordan side, I've got Perea and I've got Decapolis. All right? So Decapolis, north or south? North. And Perea, north or south? South. And Judea, north, south, middle? South. Samaria? Middle. Galilee? Okay. So he has his early Galilean ministry. In fact, almost all, or the biggest share of the miracles that Jesus performs are done in the north. Almost all of them are done in his Galilean ministry. And home base is Capernaum up there. So Jesus spent most of his time and lived most of the time in Galilee, and that was sort of home base that he operated from. On the northern part, a town in the northern part of the Sea of Galilee. So we had an early Galilean ministry and a latter Galilean ministry, and then a retirement to north of that region, and then we have a Judean ministry. And the Judean ministry would be from the Feast of Tabernacles to the Feast of Dedication. Someday I want to just do a course on the life of Christ. And you will see something will stand out to you, and that will be these feasts. And the reason it will stand out to you is some things that happen and some things that he teaches, miracles that he does during these feast times. And you would kind of expect that, wouldn't you? Because the feasts were all about Jesus. But anyway, that's for another time. And then there's a Perean ministry. Where is Perea? On which side of the Jordan? Trans side, the Transjordan side. Okay, and so Perea is north or south? South. All right. So this would be from the dedication, the Feast of Dedication, to the anointing at Bethany. And so he has been in Perea in this ministry, and it moves across, and now he's in Bethany. That's not very far outside of Jerusalem. And then we have the time of his passion, from the anointing at Bethany until his resurrection. And the 9th period is his resurrection. So you can see that what is happening is basically he has a Galilean ministry, and then he has a Judean ministry, and then he has this time of his suffering for us. But he focuses mostly in the first part of his ministry on Galilee and then moves to Judea. So if you were to think life of Christ, you could think two areas. You could think Galilee first and then Judean ministry second. In his Judean ministry, we'll include the Perean and that sort of thing. But basically, you have it divided into those two big sections. So, all right. Now, take out your chart of New Testament sequence. You will have two things. It may be a page or two down the street here, but you will have a chart, and you will also have you'll have a couple of extra. So get one that's filled out, and then get one that's not filled out. Anybody missing this chart? If you're missing it, let me know. We need to have one that you can fill out and one that is filled out. Okay? And they should have been in your notes handed out this evening. All right, here we go. Now I want you to notice, remember how we do a timeline? That we start from one edge of the left part of the page and we just move straight across time-wise? Well, everything in the New Testament is really happening in 100 years. Unlike the Old Testament, where we have quite a long period of time from about 2165 at the call of Abraham. Most of the Old Testament happens from 2165 until about 430 years before Christ. But here in the New Testament, we're down to just 100 years, under 100 years. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at this in terms of we're moving this way, and you have 5 books in the New Testament that tell the story. 5 books that are historical books, okay? And what do you think the history books of the New Testament would be? What is it that tells the New Testament story? Yeah, it is his story. That's right. So what books tell his story? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and they all are telling of the life of Christ, aren't they? And so we stack them on the chart. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Okay? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So as you're, now look at your chart that's filled out, and now would you just go ahead and transfer that to the unfilled out chart. All right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Now, Luke writes a 2-volume set. All right? Volume 1 that he wrote was the Gospel of Luke. And then he picks up